That luxury watch on your wrist isn't a statement of sophistication. It's a billboard advertising your insecurities. That $50,000 timepiece strapped to your wrist is nothing more than an expensive band-aid covering a wound you refuse to acknowledge. Yeah, I know, that hurt. Good, because today we're going to rip off that expensive band-aid and expose the wound underneath. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at that wrist candy the same way again. Here's how we're going to dissect this multi-billion-dollar illusion. In the first section, we'll dive deep into the psychology and, honestly, the pathology of why men become obsessed with luxury watches. We're talking about the trophy mentality, the desperate need for validation, the toxic self-positioning in society, and the materialistic mindset that reduces human worth to a dollar sign. Then, in the second section, we'll analyze the cold hard economics of the luxury watch industry, from manufacturing costs to pricing strategies, from depreciation nightmares to the bizarre economics that keep those gleaming boutiques alive in expensive malls. We'll also compare these mechanical dinosaurs to smartwatches and expose the gift culture that props up this entire empire. Buckle up, this is going to be uncomfortable.
Let's start with something fundamental about a certain type of man, the collector mentality. But we're not talking about stamp collecting or vintage vinyl records. No, we're talking about human trophies and status trophies that serve one singular purpose: to broadcast to the world, I have arrived. Trophy girlfriend, check she's got to be conventionally attractive, preferably younger, someone who turns heads when you walk into a room. Not because you share intellectual chemistry or emotional depth, but because she's another item on your achievement checklist. Trophy car? Absolutely. A Porsche, a Ferrari, a Lamborghini. It doesn't matter if you live in a city with chronic traffic jams or if you never drive above 50 miles per hour. That car isn't transportation, it's a declaration. Trophy career? Of course. The corner office, the executive title, the corporate ladder. Climbed not because you're passionate about the work, but because each rung higher is another flex, another achievement unlocked in the video game of status. And then, inevitably, the trophy watch. But what's sad about the trophy mentality, it's never about the thing itself. The watch isn't purchased because you care about horology or mechanical engineering. The watch is purchased because it's recognizable. Because other people will know it's expensive, because it's a shorthand for success that requires no explanation. The trophy mentality is rooted in deep insecurity. When you need external objects to prove your worth, you're essentially admitting that without these props, you're invisible, you're forgettable, you're ordinary. And for the shallow man, ordinary is the ultimate nightmare. So he collects trophies. He surrounds himself with expensive proof that he matters, that he's conquered life, that he's won. But the brutal truth? No one who's actually secure in themselves needs trophies. People who have genuinely arrived don't need to prove they've arrived. The very act of collecting these status symbols reveals the absence of the thing you're trying to signal. Actual confidence, actual achievement, actual substance. Now let's talk about validation, that addictive drug that the shallow man injects directly into his veins every time someone notices his watch. So, you're at a business meeting. You deliberately place your wrist on the table. Just casually, of course, nothing intentional. You adjust your cuff just so, making sure the brand logo is visible. You wait, and then it happens. Someone notices. Nice watch. Is that a Rolex? And there it is. That hit of dopamine, that rush of validation. Someone saw, someone acknowledged, someone confirmed that you're successful, that you've made it, that you're better. This isn't appreciation for an object. This is a desperate need for external confirmation of your worth. It's a child screaming, "Look at me, look at me." Except instead of finger painting, it's a $20,000 watch. The psychology here is fascinating. External validation becomes addictive because it's easier than internal validation. Building genuine self-worth requires introspection, personal growth, overcoming failures, developing character, cultivating skills that matter. That's hard work. That takes years. That's uncertain. But buying a luxury watch? That takes 15 minutes and a credit card. Instant validation, immediate status, pre-packaged self-esteem in a leather box. And the insidious part, it never satisfies. Because external validation is like junk food for the soul. It gives you a quick high, but you're hungry again 20 minutes later. So you need a bigger watch, a rarer model, a more exclusive piece. The validation addiction escalates. One Rolex becomes a collection. The collection becomes an obsession. And underneath it all, that original wound, the lack of genuine self-worth, remains completely untouched. Let's discuss something that makes people very uncomfortable. Class positioning through luxury goods. Because when a man straps on a luxury watch, he's not just telling time, he's declaring his tribe. I belong to luxury. I am superior to you. This is about social stratification. It's about creating visible boundaries between us and them. The luxury watch becomes a velvet rope, a members-only card, a visual shorthand that says, I belong to the upper echelons of society. Think about how luxury brands market themselves. They don't sell you a product, they sell you membership in an exclusive club. Patek Philippe's famous tagline, you never actually own a Patek Philippe. You merely look after it for the next generation. Translation, you're not just buying a watch, you're joining a dynasty. You're becoming an aristocracy. Rolex doesn't just make watches, they make tools for achievers. Audemar's piguet is to break the rules, you must first master them. Every single message is the same. This watch makes you different. Or, this watch makes you better. This watch separates you from the common masses. And the shallow man eats it up because he desperately wants to believe he's superior, not through his actions, not through his character, not through his contributions to the world, but through his purchasing power. Here's what's darkly comedic about this. Luxury brands have democratized just enough that middle-class men can stretch themselves financially to acquire these symbols. They'll go into debt, they'll save for years, they'll sacrifice other aspects of their lives, all to purchase a symbol that's supposed to signal they're beyond financial concern. You're spending money you don't really have to impress people you don't really like with an object that doesn't really matter. And you call this superiority? True superiority, if we must use that word, comes from competence, wisdom, kindness, creativity, courage. It comes from who you are when no one's watching, not from what you wear when everyone's watching. And this brings us to perhaps the most disturbing aspect of the luxury watch obsession, the materialistic reduction of human worth to monetary value. Look at my watch. How much money do you have? Because that defines who you are. Let's sit with how dystopian that is. We've reached a point where the price tag on your wrist is supposed to communicate your value as a human being, where a piece of metal and glass can somehow encapsulate your worth, your achievements, your character, your entire existence. This is materialism in its purest, most toxic form. It's the belief that material possessions not only reflect who you are, but actually constitute who you are. Without the watch, you're somehow less. With the watch, you're somehow more. But what materialism really reveals is a complete absence of internal identity. When you need objects to define you, it means you haven't defined yourself. You've outsourced your identity to corporations and brands. You've let advertisers tell you who you should be. Think about the absurdity. Two men, identical in every meaningful way, same intelligence, same kindness, same humor, same skills, same contributions to their community. But one wears a $50,000 watch and one wears a $50 watch. Does the expensive watch actually make one man superior? Of course not. But the materialistic mindset insists it does. If your identity can be purchased, it's not an identity. It's a costume. And deep down, the shallow man knows this. That's why he's always watching to see who notices his watch. That's why he feels a spike of anxiety when he's around someone wearing an even more expensive piece. That's why he can never quite feel satisfied. Because he's built his entire sense of self on the most unstable foundation imaginable, other people's perceptions of his possessions. All right, let's pivot from psychology to economics. Because to truly understand the luxury watch industry, we need to examine what you're actually paying for. Now, I'm not going to lie and say luxury watches are garbage. Many of them are genuinely well made. Swiss watchmaking does involve serious craftsmanship. When you buy a high-end mechanical watch, you're getting hundreds of tiny components assembled by skilled watchmakers involving techniques refined over centuries. A tourbillon that compensates for gravitational errors. That's genuinely impressive engineering. A perpetual calendar that accurately tracks leap years. That's mathematical precision made physical. Hand-finished movements with Côte de Genève patterns. That's artistry. But, and this is a massive but, let's talk about what this craftsmanship is actually worth in material and labour terms. A high-quality mechanical watch movement, even a complicated one, costs between $500 to $3,000 to manufacture. And yes, I'm talking about the good stuff. Swiss-made, intricate complications, quality control. The materials, stainless steel, sapphire crystal, even gold, add another few hundred to a few $1,000s, depending on the model. So we're looking at a genuine manufacturing cost of anywhere from $1,000 for simpler models to maybe $10,000 for genuinely complicated pieces with precious metals. Now, remember that Patek Philippe selling for $80,000. That Audemars Piguet Royal Oak at $70,000. That Rolex Daytona at $30,000. The craftsmanship is real, but the price? That's where the illusion begins. Let's break down where your money actually goes when you buy a luxury watch, because this is where it gets really interesting. Manufacturing cost, as we established, $1,000 to $10,000 depending on complexity and materials. Brand markup. This is where things explode. Luxury brands operate on markups of 500% to 1,000% or more. A watch that costs $5,000 to make sells for $30,000 or $50,000 or $100,000. Why? Because luxury isn't about the object, it's about the price itself. The price is the product. Veblen goods, named after economist Thorstein Veblen, are products that become more desirable as their price increases. Luxury watches are textbook Veblen goods. If Rolex suddenly cut their prices in half, demand would actually collapse because the entire value proposition is exclusivity. The high price isn't a bug, it's the primary feature. Advertising and marketing. Luxury watch brands spend billions annually on advertising. Those Formula One sponsorships, those celebrity ambassadors, those glossy magazine spreads, those aren't cheap. Roger Federer's Rolex contract is reportedly worth $15 million. That cost is built into every watch they sell. Retail infrastructure, those stunning boutiques on Fifth Avenue in New York, on Bond Street in London, in Dubai Mall. The rent alone on these locations is astronomical. We're talking millions per year for prime retail space. Add the interior design, the security, the lighting that makes each watch look like a jewel. It all comes from your wallet. Artificial scarcity. Many luxury brands deliberately restrict supply. Rolex, for example, could easily produce more Daytonas or Submariners. They have the manufacturing capacity. But they don't, because scarcity drives desire and justifies premium pricing. You're not just paying for a watch, you're paying for the privilege of access to limited inventory. Here's the thing about luxury pricing. It's not about fair value, it's about perception management. The goal is to make you believe that the high price represents extraordinary value, when in reality, you're paying for brand positioning, artificial scarcity, and marketing costs. You're not buying a watch, you're funding an industry's infrastructure and profit margins. The luxury watch industry loves promoting certain pieces as investments. And yes, there are specific models, certain Rolex sports models, some Patek Philippe complications, rare Audemars Piguet pieces that do appreciate or hold value. But let's be honest about the numbers. These investment-grade pieces represent maybe 5 to 10% of the luxury watch market. For every Rolex Daytona that appreciates, there are hundreds of luxury watches hemorrhaging value the moment you walk out of the boutique. Most luxury watches depreciate 20 to 40% immediately upon purchase. That's worse than driving a new car off the lot. If you buy a $30,000 Omega, Breitling, or even many Rolex models at retail, you'll be lucky to get $20,000 for it on the secondary market the next day. Why? Because the retail price includes all those costs we discussed: marketing, retail, overhead, brand markup. The secondary market strips those away and reveals something much closer to actual market value. And here's the kicker: while you're holding that watch, hoping it will appreciate, you're also dealing with maintenance costs. A full service for a luxury mechanical watch costs anywhere from $500 to $2,000 and needs to be done every 5 to 7 years. That's money disappearing into maintenance for an investment that's probably declining in value. For 90% of luxury watch buyers, these pieces are not investments, they're depreciating assets. They're expensive jewelry that loses value over time, which is fine if you accept that's what you're buying. But don't let anyone tell you you're making a smart financial decision. Now, here's a question that always fascinated me. How do these luxury watch boutiques survive? Think about it. You've got a massive retail space, let's say 2,000 square feet, in an upscale shopping mall or a premium location in Manhattan or London. The rent alone is anywhere from $50,000 to $300,000 per month, depending on location. Then you've got staff. 3 to 5 well-dressed sales associates making base salaries of $40,000 to $80,000 per year, plus commissions. You've got insurance for inventory worth millions. You've got security systems, you've got utilities, maintenance, property taxes if they own the space. And here's the thing, luxury watch boutiques are not high-volume businesses. They're not selling 50 watches a day like an Apple store selling iPhones. A good luxury boutique might sell 3 to 10 watches per day. On slow days, maybe 1 or 0. So how does the math work? The answer is margins. When you sell a watch with a 500% to 1,000% markup, you don't need volume. If you sell just 3 watches per day at an average price of $20,000 with a 60% margin, meaning $12,000 profit per watch, that's $36,000 in profit per day, over $1 million per month. Suddenly, those crazy rents don't seem so impossible. But here's what this reveals about the industry. These boutiques exist because enough people are willing to pay massively inflated prices. The entire economic model depends on customers not doing the math, not questioning the value proposition, and not shopping in the secondary market where prices are dramatically lower. These boutiques are magnificent theatres designed for one purpose: to make you feel like spending $30,000 on a watch is normal. The marble floors, the elegant lighting, the champagne they offer you, the impeccably dressed staff. It's all set design meant to justify the unjustifiable. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Many luxury watch enthusiasts will defend mechanical watches with religious fervour. They'll talk about soul, about heritage, about the romance of mechanical engineering, and then they'll go to the gym wearing an Apple Watch. They'll track their run with a Garmin. They'll check their messages on a Samsung Galaxy Watch. Because the dirty secret is that for actual utility, smartwatches are superior in almost every measurable way. A $400 Apple Watch tells time with atomic precision. It monitors your heart rate, tracks your exercise, manages your notifications, makes phone calls, streams music, navigates you through cities, pays for your coffee, tracks your sleep, and gets regular software updates that add new features. A $40,000 mechanical watch tells time with an accuracy of plus or minus 2 seconds per day, and that's considered excellent. It does literally nothing else, except maybe show you the date. It requires manual winding or wearing it regularly to keep it running. It needs expensive service every few years. Drop it wrong, and you could be looking at thousands in repairs. From a pure functionality standpoint, there's no comparison. The smartwatch wins by a landslide. Now, luxury watch advocates will say, but it's not about functionality, it's about artistry. It's about mechanical beauty. It's about tradition. And you know what? That's fine. If you genuinely appreciate the engineering, if you're fascinated by mechanical complications, if you enjoy the tradition and craftsmanship, more power to you. collect vintage typewriters, drive a manual transmission car, wear mechanical watches. There's value in appreciating analog craftsmanship. But be honest about what you're buying. You're not buying the superior product. You're buying a luxury good that fulfills emotional, not practical needs. You're buying nostalgia, status, aesthetic pleasure, and that's okay, as long as you're honest about it. The problem is the shallow man who convinces himself his $40,000 watch is a smart choice, a practical choice, an investment choice, while his Apple Watch does 99% of the actual work. And now, let's expose one of the most significant factors propping up the luxury watch industry, the gift economy. Research indicates that 30 to 40% of luxury watch sales are gifts. Let that sink in. Almost half of the luxury watch market isn't driven by people buying for themselves. It's driven by people buying for others. And why this matters? When you're buying a gift, especially an expensive gift for a man, luxury watches have become the default option. It's the gift equivalent of a safe choice. Retirement gift? Watch. Graduation gift? Watch. Anniversary gift? Watch. Promotion celebration? Watch. But here's the assumption baked into this gift culture. Every man loves and wants a luxury watch. And that assumption is completely, demonstrably false. Many men have zero interest in luxury watches. They'd prefer a smartwatch, or they don't wear watches at all, or they'd rather have literally anything else. A vacation, a new laptop, a donation to their favorite charity, an experience, tools for their hobby. But the luxury watch industry has successfully positioned watches as the aspirational gift for men through decades of marketing. They've created cultural expectations. When someone wants to give an expensive, impressive gift to a man, they default to a watch because that's what advertising has told them men want. And the recipient, well, they smile politely, say thank you, maybe wear it to a few family events, and then it sits in a drawer while they wear their Apple Watch daily. This gift economy is crucial for the industry because it bypasses the most rational form of consumer decision-making. When you're buying for yourself, you weigh value, you consider alternatives, you think about whether you really want it. But when you're buying a gift, especially when you're trying to impress or show appreciation, you're much more likely to overspend on a conventional luxury item. The gift economy transforms luxury watches from personal choice into social obligation, and that's worth billions to the industry. So a huge chunk of those boutiques we discussed earlier, they're staying in business partially because of wives buying anniversary gifts, companies buying executive retirement gifts, and families buying graduation presents for men who would often prefer something else entirely.
So where does this leave us? Look, I'm not saying everyone who owns a luxury watch is shallow. If you genuinely love horology, if you appreciate mechanical engineering, if you find joy in the tradition and craftsmanship, if you can afford it without financial strain, wear your luxury watch in good health. But if you're honest with yourself and you recognize any of the patterns we discussed, the trophy mentality, the validation seeking, the social positioning, the materialistic measuring of worth, then maybe it's time to ask some harder questions. Why do you really want that watch? What are you actually trying to prove? Who are you trying to impress? And most importantly, who would you be without it? Because here's what I genuinely believe. Your worth has nothing to do with what you wear on your wrist. Your value comes from your character, your competence, your creativity, your kindness, your courage, your contribution to the world. The truly wealthy man, wealthy in the ways that actually matter, doesn't need a luxury watch to prove anything. He's too busy living a meaningful life to worry about what's on his wrist. The luxury watch industry has built a multi-billion-dollar empire on a simple premise: that expensive objects can substitute for genuine achievement, real confidence, and authentic self-worth. Only shallow men believe that premise. The question is, are you one of them? Thanks for watching. If this made you uncomfortable, good. Discomfort means growth. And if you disagree with everything I said, leave a comment. Let's talk about it.